Hello, this is Miss Lally, and today I would like to take you on the journey of 4 beefsteak tomato seeds. I started back in February. I normally don't like to grow seeds indoors, but the gardening itch was getting to me, so I figured 4 little tomato seeds won't hurt. On February 5th, I planted 4 beefsteak tomato seeds from a stash of saved seeds. It was also so that I could see if my efforts to save seeds worked. I planted the seeds and set them near a window and left them alone for a few days. Then one day I happened to walk by them and on the 12th of February, and to my surprise they had came up and had already gotten leggy and were bent over. So there was a LED light nearby, and I figured I would see if I could make it act as a grow light. Why not try and see what happens? I would leave the light on from 6 to 7 a.m. to 6 or 7 p.m. at night. And by the 15th of February, the ceilings had straightened up. I set up a fan to mimic a light wind to strengthen the ceiling. But one day, I left the fan on too long and one of the ceilings ended up bending over. By the 18th of February, the ceilings had grown some more and continued to get more leggy. As the days went by in February, the seedlings were continuing to grow and produce more leaves, and the stems thickened a little bit as well. By the 24th of February, I determined it was time for the seedlings to have their own space to keep growing. I got some used red cups and cleaned them up, used garden core and bagged topsoil. That's all I had at the time. Mixed it together and used that to upplant my tomato plants. I removed the tomatoes and took note of their root development. I tried to be very careful in handling them so not to break them because I'm good for breaking leggy plants. There we go. New homes for each plant. I then placed them back under the LED light. Surely I need to look into using grow lights. They obviously are very, very useful when starting seeds. By the 26th of February, I started introducing the tomato plants to filtered sunlight. They were on their way. And then I introduced them to more intense sunlight by putting them in the kitchen window. By March 3rd, I started taking the tomato plants outside to get accustomed to outside air, wind, and sunlight. Seemed like they really enjoyed it. March 19th, I decided to plant the tomato plants into much bigger plant pots. These pots would be their permanent home. I wanted to grow tomato plants in containers this year, so might as well see if these will work. I did 2 on the 19th and 2 on the 20th. By this time, I bought garden soil and I'm adding bone meal mixed into the soil to give the plants a good start. So, with the plants in these bigger pots, they really look weak. And so I was hoping that, at this point, I really didn't know what was going to become of the plants. I didn't know how they were going to turn out, because by now they are outside. all day and all night, you know, being exposed to the temperatures and whatnot. When the temperatures would drop, because it's still March, I did bring the tomato plants in. So they stay the way that they look now. This is how they look for a long, long time, and I really didn't know how the tomato plants were going to turn out. Were they going to turn yellow and die on me? Um, I really didn't know because they started off leggy and they seemed like they responded early on when I first started the plants out. So during the month of March, I just did not know. I mean, they looked like this for a very long time. Hey, April 22nd today, and look at the tomato plants. Don't they look happy? Yes, they do. So, April came and we started getting a little bit more warm temperatures. We did have some cold spells, and I had to keep running them in the house, but um, they seem to be doing okay. So um, these are the four tomato seeds that I have been babying up along the way. And so I am going to keep you updated. My next thing I want to know is, will they produce tomatoes? So they look pretty good right now. I want to say on one of the plants, I'm not sure because it's really, really small. I'm like, am I seeing little flower buds? It's really kind of hard to tell because they're really small. But the tomato plants, they all look good. I'm going to go through and prune the bottom leaves off and just, see what happens. So I'm really excited about this, that hopefully that they will work for me and I can grow these tomatoes in the containers and they will produce for me. So I will keep you updated.